Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Willow Tate is ready to fight back against Michael Corinthos in the custody feud that's erupted between them. Although Willow is hoping to give herself an advantage by tying the knot with Drew Kane, Michael is more determined than ever to keep her away from the kids. Since Willow refuses to see Drew for who he really is, Michael feels like he has to do whatever it takes to make sure Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos stay out of her orbit. Of course, this custody storyline has become a hot topic among fans and has raised questions about whether Michael has a right to keep Willow away from her children. It's easy to see why Michael is so protective, especially after the way Drew manipulated poor Wiley to sabotage his parents' compromise. Thanks to Drew, Wiley overheard that his dad no longer wanted him or Amelia due to the new baby's arrival. That's proof that Drew is a threat to Amelia and Wiley's emotional well-being. Even before that, Drew bribed the receptionist at Michael's clinic in Germany and shut down any hope of him talking things out with Willow. Michael hasn't figured out that particular manipulative move yet, but JH viewers certainly know about it. Drew is the reason the custody battle launched, but Willow is partially at fault for putting him above her children. Willow could have shut all this down by walking away from Drew, and many viewers feel that's exactly what she should have done. Since Willow continues to blow chance after chance to put the kids first, she doesn't deserve to have custody right now. That's especially true since Willow is clearly in the middle of a mental health crisis that needs to be addressed. Fortunately, Willow is bound to get a huge wake-up call about Drew's true colors sooner or later. Drew's headed for a major downfall, and once that happens, Willow will see just how wrong she was to put so much faith in him. That could open the door to a real compromise between Willow and Michael in the end. It's just a matter of Willow finally seeing the light and understanding the depth of Drew's manipulation. General Hospital spoilers say Willow will keep digging her heels in for now, but she'll get updates on plenty of eye-opening Drew news eventually. General Hospital spoilers are in for Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Fans can expect Marco Rios to make a delivery. Cody Bell follows orders. Meanwhile, Alexis Davis seeks out Elizabeth Liz Baldwin. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the ABC soap opera. Cody Bell obeys. Fans watched as Tracy Quartermaine blew up Drew Kane's press conference. A big part of that was Cody, who took ownership of the ketamine and gave a cover story for all the press. In a preview clip for tomorrow's episode, Tracy tells Cody that they need to discuss his payment. Then Cody asks if there is something more he's supposed to do. It seems that Cody will do exactly as Tracy instructs. Alexis Davis's searchover with Alexis, she will seek out Liz. Fans recall that Liz confronted Christina Corinthos Davis about the accident. Read more. Find out what happened on the last episode of GH. Liz also knew that Christina's true targets were Rick Lansing and Ava Jerome. Even though Liz is furious, she has agreed to keep Christina's secret. Alexis will want to be sure that Liz is going to keep her word. However, Alexis might get a tongue lashing from the nurse. Liz might wonder how Alexis let Christina go so far without mental health intervention. Dante Falconeri's suggestion. General Hospital spoilers for the next episode reveal that Dante Falconeri and Brooklyn Quartermaine discuss their son. Dante tells BLQ that if they are going to reach Giovanni Gio Palmieri, then they need to work together. The detective is right about that. Gio seems convinced that he was just thrown away. However, Dante was clueless and BLQ knew she was too young to be a mother. If Dante and Brooklyn team up with a united front, maybe they can explain all the details about the adoption. If anything else, Gio should know he has family when he needs it, even if he's pushing them away right now. Read this. General Hospital spoilers. Drew drugging or brainwashing Willow. Why does she look all spaced out? Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Fans will also see Martin Gray get some bad news while lying in a hospital bed. Marco makes a delivery. Lucas Jones warns Liz that she's leading Rick on. However, the nurse passionately denies it. Meanwhile, Ava mumbles liar while slumped in a chair, most likely in a hospital room. There is also Martin, who tells Rick that if anyone can irritate that woman, it's him. Plus, Sonny Corinthos demands an answer. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on ABC to find out what is coming up next. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with GH right now. Come back here often for General Hospital spoilers, news and updates. General Hospital recaps for Tuesday, June 24th reveals Sonny Corinthos told Jason Morgan his plan and Isaiah Gannon broke up a catfight. Also, Tracy Quartermaine gloated as Cody Bell saved her behind. Sonny tells Jason his plan. Sonny Corinthos and Jason Morgan arrive at Sonny's place, where Sonny mentions that ADA Justine Turner believes she can send him to prison. However, he points out that her key witness Natalia Ramirez is about to vanish. The house is prepared, and the guards are in position. They plan to send her off to Belize after she delivers the records. Jason expresses his worry that Natalia may have already disclosed everything to Jen Sidwell. Sonny is skeptical about that, but he acknowledges that Sidwell will still make arrangements. General Hospital recap June 24th. Carly refuses to help and Tracy gloats as Cody saves her behind. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Lucy meets Sidwell and Marco at Metro Court. At Metro Court, Lucy Co. was taken aback when Sidwell invited his son Marco Rios to lunch. They talk about his pride and joy. Sidwell's other home is in Dubai, and he reveals that Sonny was initially going to sell his peers to him, but ultimately changed his mind. Marco expresses his regret upon hearing this. Jens dismisses it casually, but Lucy believes she can make it happen. She resolves to take action immediately. Read more. Find out what happened on the last episode of GH. He puts on a show of telling her that she doesn't need to do that, yet she remains resolute. He refers to her as an angel and embraces her. After she leaves, Marco questions whether she can pull it off. Jens is hopeful. He mentions that he would prefer to avoid getting his hands dirty, but if necessary, so be it. Isaiah breaks up a catfight at the pool. Portia Robinson expresses her jealousy to Jordan Ashford, suggesting that she must be worn out from entertaining her husband all afternoon. Portia believes they were reminiscing about their romantic history. In response, Jordan advises her to discuss this with her husband. She reminds Portia that they are friends and urges her to regain her composure. If she and Curtis Ashford are facing issues, it's not Jordan's responsibility. Portia feels she deserves dignity. Meanwhile, Isaiah overhears as Jordan tells Portia to take action. If her marriage is faltering, it's on her. In a fit of anger, Portia throws her drink in Jordan's face, prompting Jordan to shout, "What's wrong with you?" Gannon pulls her away and Portia leaves. He approaches Jordan to inquire about her interaction with Curtis. General Hospital spoilers and updates for Wednesday, June 25th. Tease parental talks, following orders and bad news. Dante Falconeri and Brooklyn Quartermaine Chase have a parental talk. Cody Bell follows orders, and Martin Gray gets bad news. Parental talks. Brooklyn and Dante finally talk, and they discuss their grown son Gio Palmieri. Joe's not been buying what either one of them have been selling about relationships with them. He's pretty much cut everyone off. Dante tells Brooklyn to reach Gio. He and she are going to have to work together. Want more General Hospital news? Get updates on the latest General Hospital news straight to your inbox. Website your email. Subscribe. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. That will be easier said than done, because Gio has obviously inherited Dante's temper, and both his and Brooklyn's stubbornness. At least Dante has realized he has to lay aside his anger at Brooklyn for not telling him they had a son years ago. Payment processing elsewhere. Tracy Quartermaine is talking to someone to whom she obviously owes some money. She tells them that they need to discuss their payment. It's likely she's talking to her attorney about settling up for her frame job by Drew Kane. Although thanks to Cody, the matter is cleared up. Drew was cleared of framing Tracy and Tracy was cleared of the evidence that was found after Cody confessed he left ketamine for Hades, her horse, in her car. But was the whole thing a carefully calculated defense strategy, the receipt being forged to throw the crooked congressman off? After all, there was that earlier conversation when Michael Corinthos asked if ketamine was a horse tranquilizer. Following orders. In the meantime, Cody's been following orders and he inquires of someone if his job is already done. It doesn't seem he's talking about working for Tracy with the horses. Previously, Christina Corinthos Davis had hired him to seduce Ava Jerome away from Rick Lansing. Is this the job he's talking about? Or did Tracy pay him for the ketamine testimony after all? How did he know to show up at Drew's press conference otherwise? It seems that this scenario could be either one because Tracy's happy and elsewhere, Ava's angry at someone. Based on other conversations, Cody may not have to complete his seduction job. Read this. General Hospital spoilers. Drew drugging or brainwashing Willow. Why does she look all spaced out? Elizabeth has questions in the meantime at GH. Elizabeth Baldwin has questions, and she's talking to good friend Lucas Jones. She asks him if he thinks she's leading Rick on, considering Lucky Spencer has left again and Elizabeth's still friendly with Rick. But Elizabeth is as cautious guarding her heart with Rick as she is with Lucky, and maybe even more so. After all, there was that time that Rick locked Carly Spencer in a panic room and Elizabeth wound up freeing her. Rick was a real snake that time. Carly was pregnant and he wanted her baby for Liz. Read this. General Hospital spoilers. Is the unlikely alliance of Nina and Michael the key to Drew's downfall? Martin gets bad news. Speaking of Rick, he's in a hospital room there at GH where Martin is flat on his back in a bed. It looks like the bad news Martin gets is he might have to let Rick finish his cases again. He's discussing a woman they both know with Rick, and possibly they may be discussing Tracy. Martin is pretty upset as he tells Rick if anyone can irritate that woman, it's Rick. Although if Tracy is the subject of their conversation, Martin does a pretty good job of that himself. Read this. General Hospital spoilers. Could Gladys be back to kidnap Daisy? Angry Ava. Ava appears to be at her desk in the Jerome Art Gallery by the looks of the chair she's sitting in. She's muttering to herself, since no one else can be seen in the room. She's pretty upset as she hisses, "You lying liar," about someone. This could be Drew or it could be even Rick. It wouldn't be surprising if it turned out to be Drew. The whole world seems to be mad at him. On the other hand, she could be mad at Kai Taylor since he betrayed Trina Robinson regarding Curtis Ashford finding Jacinda. He told Drew what he overheard and Drew wouldn't waste any time acting on it to repair his reputation, or lack thereof. Read this. General Hospital spoilers. Is Outback the dog a lab escape? Will Anna train it as a canine? Sonny demands answers elsewhere. Sonny Corinthos demands answers, impatiently asking someone what their answer is going to be. It sounds like the topic of discussion is Jen Sidwell, who Lucy Coe had come to Sonny's to try and persuade him to sell him his peers after all. Lucy had backed down after Sonny had a lot of questions, and warned her this is something she shouldn't be involved in. Previously, Sonny had discussed with Jason Morgan his plans to get Natalia Ramirez to safety, and Jason wondered if she could be trusted. It's possible he's following up with her, because she wasn't sure she wanted a witness protection type situation where she'd never see her children again. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with GH right now. Come back here often for General Hospital spoilers, news and updates. The next General Hospital spoilers video for Wednesday, June 25, 2025, shows Dante and Brooke Lynn discussing Gio. Tracy is ready to dole out the reward for helping her. And an angry Martin is in the hospital after the debacle of the press conference. Coming up in Port Charles, Dante tells Brooke Lynn, "To reach Gio, you and I are gonna have to work together. They've got a long road ahead of them if they want their son to speak with them." Tracy tells someone, "We need to discuss your payment," while Cody asks someone, "My job already done?" The weekly teasers state that Cody follows orders, so he's probably getting his next assignment for Operation Take Down Drew. Elizabeth asks Lucas, "Do you think I'm leading Rick on? If she gives Rick the time of day, he'll think she's into him. So anything she does that's friendly toward him will be construed as her having feelings for him." Join the Soap Hub community and make your opinion matter. Comment. Lying in a hospital bed. An angry Martin throws shade at Rick when he tells him, "If anyone can irritate that woman, it's you." The teasers also show that Martin gets bad news. Can the news be any worse than him and Drew losing their leverage over Tracy? And Ava seems to be muttering to herself, "You lying liar." While elsewhere, Sonny asks someone, "What's your answer gonna be?" Who could he be interrogating? Parental talks following orders. Bad news. A General Hospital drama deepens. Port Charles is no stranger to emotional turmoil, and this week is no exception as difficult conversations, unwelcome revelations, and strict loyalties take center stage. At the Corinthos estate, Michael Corinthos and Willow Tate found themselves at odds once again. This time over how to handle the growing tension between their families. As Willow tries to maintain peace, Michael is digging deeper into past betrayals, especially as they relate to Nina. Their quiet disagreement quickly escalates when Willow makes it clear that she doesn't want Wiley caught in the middle. Michael, however, is less forgiving. Despite Willow's emotional appeal to give things space, Michael can't resist acting on his own sense of justice. Their discussion leaves Willow feeling unheard and emotionally drained, forcing her to consider whether their differences are becoming irreparable. Meanwhile, Ava Jerome and Trina Robinson shared a heartfelt exchange at the gallery. Ava, who's been something of a mentor to Trina, tried her best to give some motherly advice without stepping on Portia's toes. Trina admitted to feeling the pressure of being caught in the middle, between what her heart tells her, and the chaos surrounding Spencer's legacy. Ava gently reminded Trina that sometimes, protecting yourself means walking away from the fire, not running toward it. It was a rare soft moment for Ava, but one that may linger in Trina's thoughts as she navigates her next step. Elsewhere, Jordan Ashford is caught between duty and personal feeling, as she faces mounting pressure from both the mayor's office and the police commissioner. She's expected to follow protocol strictly in the latest investigation, but she knows the people involved far too well to remain emotionally detached. When ordered to arrest someone she once trusted, Jordan hesitated. Although she ultimately followed through, her internal conflict was apparent, and the decision weighed heavily on her. She's beginning to question whether following orders is always the right thing when justice is more nuanced than black and white. Meanwhile, Curtis Ashford received unfortunate medical updates. After months of hope surrounding potential recovery, Curtis sat with his doctor and received confirmation that his physical condition may be more permanent than expected. The news devastated him, though he tried to maintain a brave front. Portia, feeling helpless, tried to reassure him, but the moment left them both reeling. Curtis has long been the rock in many people's lives, but now that his world is shaken, he's forced to reevaluate what his new normal might look like. In another part of town, Sonny Corinthos had a tense exchange with Dex Heller. Dex's loyalties have always been complicated, but this week, Sonny made it clear. Either you're all in or you're out. With rising threats from unknown sources, Sonny needs unwavering loyalty now more than ever. Dex's hesitation didn't go unnoticed. While Sonny didn't pull the trigger on cutting him loose just yet, the warning was unmistakable. Dex is now in a dangerous position, both professionally and personally, if he doesn't recommit fully or find a way out soon. Back at the hospital, Elizabeth Weber had her own unsettling moment. When a patient with ties to her past was wheeled in, Elizabeth was hit with an emotional wave she hadn't prepared for. While she maintained her professional demeanor, inside she was shaken. She confided in Finn, who offered some comfort but couldn't help noticing that Liz is still carrying trauma she refuses to unpack. This encounter may push Elizabeth to finally face what she's been burying for so long, before it consumes her. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Jacks continues to grow suspicious of Drew and his recent decisions. Though she initially tried to stay out of the drama between Drew, Carly, and Nina, Joss is beginning to wonder if Drew's motives are as pure as he claims. Her protective nature over her mom is kicking into high gear, and she's now quietly keeping tabs on his actions. Whether she confronts him or exposes his secrets remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, Jocelyn is no longer the bystander. Elsewhere, Brooke Lynn Quartermain received troubling news from Lois Cerullo. A family member is in legal trouble back in Bensonhurst, and there may be pressure on Brooke Lynn to get involved. Torn between her obligations in Port Charles and her loyalty to her roots, Brooke Lynn now faces a difficult choice. She confided in Chase, who supported her decision regardless, but warned her not to get dragged into anything that could threaten their new beginning. And finally, Anna Devane finds herself increasingly isolated. Still reeling from past betrayals, she's becoming more suspicious of everyone around her. Even Valentine, once her safe harbor, is now on thin ice. A cryptic message delivered to her this week could change everything, and Anna must decide whether to share what she's learned, or keep it close while she uncovers the full truth. Conclusion. As always in Port Charles, love, family, and duty intersect in unpredictable and often painful ways. From parental advice and strained loyalties to harsh truths and moral dilemmas, the characters are all being pushed to their limits. Every choice now carries consequences, and no one is immune from fallout. As alliances shift and trust frays, residents of Port Charles may soon find that even the strongest relationships can unravel when faced with pressure, secrets, and heartbreak. Would you like a follow-up focused on Dex's double life, Jordan's ethical crisis, or Willow's breaking point? Family talks escalate, rules tighten, and secrets threaten to surface. While emotions ran high in Port Charles last week, the storm is far from over. Several families continue to grapple with hard truths, delicate confrontations, and the unexpected fallout of their decisions. This week deepens emotional cracks, tests boundaries, and introduces twists that could shatter the illusion of peace some have tried desperately to maintain. At the Quartermain mansion, Michael Corinthos is still dealing with the consequences of his parental confrontation with Willow Tate. Though their earlier conversation ended in unresolved tension, Michael found himself seeking counsel from Ned, someone who's been through more than his fair share of complicated family dynamics. Ned warned Michael that pride can often cost more than it's worth, especially when children are involved. Michael's determination to do what he thinks is right is pushing Willow further away, but he seems unaware of how thin the ice beneath their relationship has become. Meanwhile, Willow, emotionally worn down from walking on eggshells, pays a visit to Elizabeth Weber for some professional and personal advice. She doesn't reveal everything but hints enough to make Liz concerned. Elizabeth encourages Willow to prioritize stability, not just for Wiley and Amelia, but for herself. She suggests therapy, but Willow seems hesitant. However, the conversation leaves her thinking about how much of herself she's lost in the effort to keep peace between fractured families. Over at the Ashford residence, Curtis continues to wrestle with his devastating medical prognosis. While he tries to present a strong front for Trina and Portia, his private moments reveal the depth of his inner struggle. Portia insists on accompanying him to his next specialist appointment, but Curtis feels suffocated, torn between gratitude and frustration. He lashes out slightly, which leads to a tense argument. Portia storms off, feeling helpless and shut out. Jordan Ashford, dealing with professional pressure at the PCPD, finds herself on the receiving end of a stern directive: arrest someone she knows is being framed. The evidence isn't adding up, but the political fallout of not acting would be too great. Torn between the badge and her conscience, Jordan eventually makes the arrest, but vows privately to uncover the real truth. She knows someone is manipulating things from the shadows, and she intends to find out who it is. Across town, Anna Devane receives an encrypted tip pointing to a mole in the department, someone close. She shares the message with Valentine Cassadine, but the mistrust between them lingers. Anna's instincts tell her to follow her own path. As she reopens an old file connected to her time with the WSB, she notices something troubling. Someone who was supposedly dead might be alive and pulling strings. Could this shadowy figure be orchestrating chaos from afar? Elsewhere, Carly Spencer and Jocelyn Jacks have a mother-daughter heart-to-heart. Carly senses something is off with Joss, who finally admits that she suspects Drew isn't being honest about his intentions, especially toward Willow. Carly is torn. She defends Drew to a degree, but also encourages Jocelyn to trust her gut. Joss says she's going to dig for answers, something Carly warns could lead to more questions than closure. Meanwhile, Brooke Lynn sits alone at Kelly's, absorbing the news about her family's legal issues back in Brooklyn. Lois Cerullo joins her, urging her daughter to stay out of it. Let them clean up their own mess, Lois says. But Brooke Lynn's guilt nags at her. She's afraid that turning a blind eye now will only invite more regrets later. At JH, Finn has been watching Elizabeth struggle silently. He gently presses, trying to get her to open up. She confesses she had a run-in with someone from her past, and it stirred unresolved trauma. Finn encourages her to take time off, but Elizabeth insists she needs structure right now. Still, her hands shake slightly when she's alone, and that doesn't go unnoticed by her supervisor. Over at Sonny Corinthos' penthouse, the mob boss has one thing on his mind: the weak link in his organization. After speaking with Brick, Sonny now suspects that Dex Heller may not be fully on board. Brick agrees to do some quiet checking. Sonny doesn't want to believe he was wrong to trust Dex, but if betrayal is looming, he needs to be ready. "I don't forgive twice," Sonny mutters. And finally, Sasha Gilmore receives unexpected news about a lawsuit regarding Brando's estate. There's a loophole that could put her finances at risk, and it's being triggered by someone who has remained anonymous for now. Sasha leans on Maxie Jones for help. Maxie promises to dig through legal contacts and get answers, but warns that whoever is behind this knows exactly what they're doing. Sasha's gut tells her this attack is personal. What's next in Port Charles? As the emotional weight increases for nearly every character, personal relationships will be tested against external threats, internal doubts, and moral dilemmas. Loyalties will shift, masks may slip, and choices made in haste could bring lifelong consequences. The fallout from recent decisions is only beginning. Who will rise to the occasion, and who will crumble under the weight of it all? Stay tuned, because in Port Charles, even the most trusted allies can turn out to be enemies in disguise. Difficult conversations, escalating stakes, and family pressures in Port Charles. Tensions continue to rise in General Hospital, as deeply personal decisions collide with shifting loyalties. Each character finds themselves pulled in a different direction, some trying to protect loved ones, others bound by duty, and a few caught in the crossfire of secrets they didn't ask to carry. In the Corinthos household, Sunny and Christina are not seeing eye to eye. After her recent outbursts and confrontations over Molly and the surrogacy, Christina finds herself on the receiving end of a hard truth from her father. Sunny, while supportive, warns her that passion without control can destroy everything she's working for. Christina storms out after the conversation, frustrated by what she perceives as a lack of understanding, but Sunny's concern for his daughter only grows deeper. He calls Alexis, suggesting it's time they come together as parents and intervene before Christina ruins important relationships beyond repair. Meanwhile, Alexis has her own battle to face. Still on shaky ground with the legal board, she's being advised to keep her head down. But when she hears Sunny's warning and sees Christina's growing emotional strain, Alexis begins to consider stepping back into the courtroom to help guide her daughter. But doing so could jeopardize her return to law completely. She's stuck between protecting her daughter and preserving the life she's worked hard to rebuild. On the other side of town, Molly is trying to focus on her relationship with TJ, but they're not on the same page about Christina's involvement with their child. TJ thinks Christina should be brought in closer, especially after the emotional fallout from the surrogacy complications. But Molly is hesitant. She believes boundaries are the only way to keep things stable. Their once unshakable relationship is starting to crack, as they disagree more frequently and deeply. Trina, still dealing with the aftermath of Curtis' diagnosis and Portia's hovering, feels like her voice is getting lost in the shuffle. After a heart-to-heart with Ava Jerome, Trina realizes she needs to take control of her own narrative again. Ava advises her not to let grief, or her mother, dictate her future. Trina takes this to heart and begins to sketch out a new project for her studies, one that ties into both her passion for art and a tribute to her father, Taggart. She knows it's time to define herself on her terms. Over at GH, Elizabeth Weber finds herself pulled into an ethical dilemma. A patient's family wants answers about missing medication, and while Elizabeth suspects something odd with a recent pharmacy delivery, she's unsure whether to speak out or wait for more proof. When Finn offers to help, she initially shuts him down, not wanting to appear vulnerable, but it's clear she's shaken. If something's wrong in the hospital's supply chain, the consequences could be serious. She decides to investigate quietly on her own. At the Davis house, Sam McCall is balancing Danny's school issues with concerns over Dante's behavior. Since the incident that put him on desk duty, Dante has been more closed off than usual. Sam begins to worry that he's hiding something, and when she questions him, he deflects. Their relationship has weathered storms before, but Sam is beginning to fear that Dante might be spiraling and not telling her everything. Meanwhile, Anna Devane makes a breakthrough in her investigation into the possible WSB mole. She brings in Robert Scorpio, and the two start piecing together timelines and files that don't match up. When a name resurfaces from years ago, a supposed double agent long thought dead, they realize they may be facing someone who has returned with a grudge. The potential for infiltration at the highest levels of Port Charles's law enforcement is terrifying, especially given how close this threat may already be. Back at Kelly's, Carly tries to reach out to Nina, hoping to draw a truce for the sake of Willow and the kids. Nina is hesitant, still burned by how she was pushed out of the family circle after the SSE confession. Carly, in a rare moment of humility, admits she's tired of the fighting and thinks they can at least try to coexist for Willow's sake. Nina says she'll think about it, but the glint of distrust in her eyes shows this détente might be short-lived. Elsewhere, Michael receives a strange package at the Quartermain mansion. No return address, just a flash drive. On it is surveillance footage from weeks ago, showing a figure tampering with something at the hospital pharmacy. Michael doesn't recognize the person, but what he sees shakes him. It might be linked to Sharon's medication scandal. He forwards it to Dex, who agrees to dig deeper, warning Michael that this could be bigger than anyone expected. What lies ahead for Port Charles? As miscommunications deepen and secrets begin to surface, it's becoming clear that every move has consequences. Relationships are tested, careers are on the line, and personal safety may soon be at risk. With new threats emerging and past mistakes coming back to haunt several characters, Port Charles is on the edge of major upheaval. Will Christina find her footing again? Can Alexis protect her daughter without jeopardizing her own future? And what will Anna uncover about the mole hidden in plain sight? Stay tuned, because in General Hospital, peace is only ever temporary.